It's Monday night, DRL Radio's on the air. Sit back and relax. It's time to talk about all things sim racing. Here are your hosts, Rich, Mr. TV Time Patton, Todd, Too Tall Stat, and Phil, the Racer Lacasse. Okay, boys, let's have some fun. Yes.
Man, they let us come back for another week. Good evening, everybody out there, YouTube land. DRL Live, back on the air again. Episode number 2, hot off of last week's debut episode. The all-new talk show here to the DRL network, covering all things sim racing and beyond. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Open to all leagues out there and everybody out there, YouTube chat box. Maybe come join the conversation via TeamSpeak 3. We live in the SRA TeamSpeak. We'll display that TeamSpeak on your screen, as you can see. But, of course, up in the booth here, Phil Lacasse, joined by Todd Stanton. Rich Patton, as always, manning the controls this evening. And, Todd, we came off a great week last week, and we've seen a lot of great racing out, a part of the NR 2003 community, and also a little bit beyond it. So, a lot of things to cover this week.
Definitely a lot of things to cover this week. Glad I'm a little bit better, not under the weather, such a scratchy voice this time around, this go around. I'm telling you, Phil, our show was great last week. A lot of rave reviews from everybody going on. We've got a lot more replies here this week from the leagues. We'd like to see more leagues get involved. iRacing, R Factor. We got a lot of NASCAR 2003 leagues, which is our bread and butter. But we'd like to see some of these other leagues, iRacing, whether you're any of those other leagues, to get involved here with DRL Live. It's a great thing to be involved in. Get your league in the limelight here on DRL Live. Also, new tonight, I just want to make sure that everybody knows we will be taking calls in, but we're limited to 10 call-ins tonight here in the waiting room on our TeamSpeak channel.
No, absolutely. And a few nights ago, we were live with the DRL network. DRTV was at the Backyard Garage for their 6th anniversary Rich Patton. It was a long night, but at the end of the night, we saw Michael Butler go to Victory Lane, and what was a good time over at the garage.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was busy doing something. Yeah, good to be back here this week. And like you mentioned, we had a big 100% race at the garage the other night. Unbelievable race. Lasted a long time. I think that was our longest broadcast, 4.5 hours of live broadcasting of racing. It was just outstanding. No plate track. Yeah, they had quite a few cautions, but some amazing crashes. And I know that the fans out there a lot of times like to see the crashes on DRTV. And that was a good one for us to be able to show some of them 230-mile-an-hour crashes, cars catching air and doing unbelievable barrel rolls and all. So a lot of excitement for sure, guys. Back to you.
I can't wait to get this show on the road here tonight. Results are going to be our next topic of discussion. All the results that the league owners have sent into us, league fans have sent into us, all different kinds of jazz going on. We're going to throw it right to Phil. He's going to take off with our first little part of the results section.
Yeah, it's called the DRL Weekly Review, and we'll start off this week for the Excel Racing League. They held a great awards banquet a few nights ago, last Tuesday night. We were thrilled to be a part of that. I know Rich and Joe and myself were able to go over there, and it was Kyle Lawson who was crowned the big winner of the night over at the Excel Racing League. Took down 5 series championships in 2016, taking the Excel Grand National, the Tough Trucks, the Stars Modified, the Stars Late Model, and the King of Dirt Late Model Series. So it was Kyle Lawson there, the big winner at Excel. Also picking up titles there were Chet Dellenbeck in the Excel Cup Series, winning his first title there in the Cup Series. Caleb Higginbotham captured the KOD Modified Series title. Chris Rogers, very good friend of us from Excel here at DRTV, claimed the trophy in the Danoskins Pro Cup Series. And speaking of our friend Danoskins, he is crowned the champion of the King of Dirt Sprint Car Series.
Oh, we've taken it over to IMS, Insomniac Motorsports Group, and I tell you what a fantastic showing for these guys on Friday night. A lot of people were a little bit doubted at their time slot, but I tell you what, they do a fantastic job. They had 45 drivers try to take time here. 42 got on the racetrack here at Talladega. It was a fantastic race. Alan Lewis took down the win. First race back in NASCAR 2003 in a very, very long time for Alan Lewis, followed by Derek Justice, Joe Allen, Todd Stanton, and Kelly Horner. The Mutt Series took a trip to the Bristol Motor Speedway. Blake McCandless took down the win with David Day, Frank Divens, Steve Looney, and Robert Balcom rounding out your top 5 for Insomniac Motorsports.
Moving over to the Fast Racing League, they have two great nights of racing here in the results. Last Tuesday night, the Chromatic Design Truck Series visited the Pensacola Superspeedway. It was Sean Whitehill taking down the race win. Joey Fulford was second. Coming in third was Randall Coleman. Brandon Hawken was fourth. Tyler Stallhood rounded out your top five. And one night later on Wednesday evening, the Under Armour Cup Series ran over at the Fuel Motorsports Park, rather. That was at the Fast Racing League. They ran the Fuel Motorsports Park on the dirt, and it was also Sean Whitehill for the second straight night taking down the win. Tommy Bordeaux, Austin Hakes, Randall Coleman, and Ryan Pace rounded out your top five last week at Fast Racing.
One race at TDR out of the TDR stables this week was Sunday Night Stock Car, the Grip Series, the 2.0 Grip Series on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Blake McCandless took down another win. That name sounding very familiar here on DRL Live quite a bit. McCandless taking down the win with the ageless one, the Flying Fossil Keith Patton finishing second, Steve the Reaper Gordon finishing third. Fourth was In Sync Gary Piccolo, and rounding out your top five in the Insomniac Motorsports guide, he's returning back to NASCAR 2003 in lockstep. I tell you, he's had a lot of top fives here as late. Jesse Klein.
Yeah, I won't mention who finished sixth in that race either, but he might be an announcer up here in the booth tonight, and I don't think his name was Todd. But moving over, got a quick word again from Ray Hewlick over at Afterburner Motorsports. No race results to share, but it says all five series going back to the beginning, the original tracks of the NASCAR Racing 2-on-3 community games, the just stock racetracks. Sunday night, he'll be running the Gen 615 with fixed setups. Monday night, the CWS trucks with fixed setups. Tuesday night, they run the NXS 15 with the fixed setups. Wednesday night, an open setup series with NXS 15 CTS mod. And Thursday night, back to the Gen 615 mod with open setups and hardcore mode. So that's all the great racing and over at Afterburner, who also reminds you coming Sunday, December the 18th, they're holding a Christmas race there. Going to open practice about 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No password needed. Check out all the guys over at Afterburner Motorsports and go join them. Open to all next Sunday. I believe they're racing at Daytona next week, Todd, for their Christmas race.
That's going to be interesting to get involved in. So head on over to them Afterburner Motorsports and get involved in a great race like that for Christmas. And great atmosphere over there at Afterburner Motorsports. We're going to take it down to Blazing Pedals, blazingpedals.com, for some of their results here this week that was just recently given to us here earlier. Derek Justice took down the win at Myrtle Beach. Maverick Morrow in the Sprint Cup on 12-7. Also, at Myrtle Beach again, not the CWSTS, the Camping World Truck Series. The twin rig Motegi was Jason Justice, and then at Greenville, the Spartan Speedway was Derek Justice once again taking down the win. The Justice brothers pretty much dominating over the Blazing Pedals right now.
Well, certainly no shock is all there. The Justice guys always very, very stout anytime you go to Blazing Pedals. Great league. They're part of the SRA family. Check them out, blazingpedals.com. Moving over to another friend of ours, Frank Gibbons from Extreme Motorsports, checked in with great series results from this past week at Extreme. It was Blake McCandless taking down the win in the Pontiac Excitement 100 in Monday night's Winston Cup Series at the Richmond International Raceway. The following night, the Budweiser King of Beers 100 for the muscle car late model. Tuesday night over at Extreme, Frank Gibbons took down the win at the Thompson Speedway. And on Thursday night, they opened up with their Extreme Sprint Cup Series. It was the Super Speedway Series, I should say. It was Joey Fulfold taking down the win at Talladega. And you can check out Extreme tonight as they're in action with the Cup 90 mod in the GM Goodwrench 100 at Rockingham. They go qualifying at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So check them out, Extreme Motorsports.
Going to take it down to the NRSL MDVOS Series, the Subway 150 winner. It was none other than the FTF guy, Brandon Lawson. He won the most popular driver over the FTF. So Brandon Lawson taking home the win here for the NRSL MDVOS Subway 150.
Moving over to our friends at the Fuel Racing League. They had the GoPro Super Truck Series here running on Friday nights, and it was Randall Coleman taking down the win in the NASCAR Heat Evolution 250 at Kansas. What seemed to be a wild race, a lot of controversy there, I guess, involved in, admins had a handful. They do a great job over there as Fuel as always. Tyler and all the guys over there, a bang-up job. Moving over to Sunday night at Fuel, they run Twin Super Speedway Series, the Brad's Internet Service Super Speedway Series exactly. They opened the evening running at the Zanjolta Speedway. The Crown Royal 100 was won by Joey Fullfold. And then they moved over to the FTF Super Speedway, where Ricky Coletti picked up the win in a caution-free race. It sounded like a great weekend of action over at Fuel Racing League. Check them out. Also a part of the SRA. And moving back over, got a late result sent to me there, Todd. Sorry, not sure if you had anything left on your end or not, but also got another word from our friend Chris Rogers over at Excel. Give me a nice list of results here tonight. They ran this past week. They closed up championship night last week. They had two series still remaining. The Stars Street Stock Series was won by Chris Rogers over there at the Midville Speedway, and they also ran the Star, that was Star Street Stock. They're going to move to Lanier Speedway for next week's race. And moving down the list, they had twin features that were also won by Chris Rogers on, looks like that was on Thursday night. So I read down this list, it was a late coming entry to me. So Chris, I apologize. I'll do more due diligence next time to listen on the DRL live show. But that's the results, Todd. Great to hear from Chris Rogers, all the guys at Excel, and all the great leagues out there in the community that want to be a part of this. And I think that's going to wrap up my end here for Weekly Review. Todd, I believe you may be done as well. But if we didn't mention your league, we would love to hear from you on DRL Live. Open to all leagues, all disciplines. I know we're heavily rooted in NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the sim we've all played and loved for a long, long time. But we also want to branch out into games like R Factor, iRacing, Project Cars, Automobile Bista, whatever it could be out there. If it's got wheels and you guys are racing it, we'd love to hear about it. So if you would like to email your results and be a part of the Weekly Review, send us an email, drlive@drlnetwork.com, and get your league on the Weekly Review there, Todd.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more participants get involved in this. All the great leagues out there in every form of sim racing that's going on. So I can't wait to see some of these guys get involved and send in their race results. Also, now new feature in Facebook. We have DRL Live on Facebook. You can text us questions that you may want answered on air. Anything to that effect. Anything you can just text it during the middle of the week, and we'll try to get to something here live on the show. We got to thank all the viewers here for watching here once again tonight. It's going to be a fantastic show that we have in store right after these results, Phil. It's been great so far, so I'm ready for the next portion of it.
Well, we can move over to what we call the speed round, and I guess Rich Patton has something really special planned for us, something we're not even aware of here coming up in the speed round, Todd. So, Rich, what you got in store for us tonight?
Yeah, I kind of made the mention last week that I wasn't going to let you guys know what the speed round topics are. The speed round topics are now posted out on the YouTube channel for everybody to see, and we're going to go down these topics. We got 4 speed round topics tonight. The way it's going to work is every time we bring up the topic, Phil, Todd, and myself can have up to a 5-minute discussion. They can go less than 5 minutes, but they cannot go past 5 minutes. As soon as the 5 minutes is up, we will proceed to the next topic. Once the topics are all done, that will move us into our roundtable, and we have a special guest tonight for an in-house interview. So looking forward to that. First topic on the board tonight, guys, fixed setups or open setups? The floor is open.
That's a loaded topic right there. Fixed setup or open setup? Well, I don't have a lot of experience with open setups here, Ty. I've got to run in a couple of open setup series, mainly at my home base TDR, where I've called home for about 9 years, and I fared well, won 2 championships there, but I really don't have a lot of background in open setup racing. So I guess if I'd have to choose my preference, I would certainly go to fixed setups as a lot of the norm. But it's great to see all these great leagues popping up all over the place, whether they're within the Sim Racing Association or we call home, or a lot of leagues outside of the community that we don't see a lot of open setup racing happening. So it's certainly a cool, different flavor, but something maybe not for me. But I'd love to go try sometime. What do you think, Todd?
Open setup racing is great. We've seen a lot of great racing. We haven't done a lot here on DRTV or DRL Live with open setups. But back when NASCAR 2003 started, there was many leagues with open setups. I mean, I've been around the sim racing community for 20 plus years now, just going back and forth since I was 16 years old. So, I mean, a little bit before 16, I should say, but I was always saying I was 16. But open setup wise, there's a lot of great leagues out there still. But we've kind of transformed. I mean, there was more open setup leagues, I believe, back in the beginning of NASCAR 2003. You've seen a lot more open setup leagues than you did fixed setup leagues, and then they kind of transitioned to fixed setup. Not a lot of people, everybody in their day-to-day life had not enough time to get to open setups because everybody was getting competitive with their open setups. Now the fixed setup, you could run in there, you could run practice for maybe an hour, half an hour, and it's more towards the generations that are coming up now of drivers. I mean, a lot of guys don't know how to make their own setups and don't know how to progress with their own setup and do different things like that. So, fixed setup racing is a way of the land here in NASCAR 2003 and a lot of the other sims to say the matter. But open setup racing is still around. I would like to see more of it and more people try it because it's actually more fun. But you just gotta take some time and do your setups. I mean, that's coming from Dirt Track Racing 2 and Dirt Track Racing. I spent hours upon hours making setups for Dirt Track Racing for Ratbag Sim games, Phil, when I had time. Now I don't have time.
And I think that's a lot of what we see, Todd, is that time versus, when you run an open setup league and, it takes a lot of work, as you said, you really got to get invested into making your setup and crafting it and tweaking it just how you like it to be the best you can be. And, a lot of our sim racers, let's face it, everybody's got daily lives and jobs and families and all this and that. So you think about it, some guys just want to sit down when it comes time to race, jump in with, 10 minutes before qualifying would start and go out there and practice. And I think that's where the benefit of a fixed setup comes into a lot of guys that may have a family life and, things they want to do away from the computer and whatnot. So, fixed or open setup, it's a great debate, something we can certainly open up later on. But Rich, let's throw it to you for our next topic.
Next one on the list is going to be super speedway versus short track. Which do you prefer and why?
Well, I'm going to take the floor on this one. I like the short tracks. I used to be good, and I say used to be good at short tracks. I'm no good no more. So now I've kind of fallen into the super speedway aspect of things. It's kind of put a brick on the floorboard and go at a super speedway, where short track it takes some finesse, which I obviously don't have anymore, but I still crave for short tracks, and I still want to race the short tracks. It's more fun, it's more driver oriented, it's based more on the driver, even with a fixed setup like we were saying before. But I believe a short track is better than the super speedway, but super speedway draws numbers. You can't deny the fact, like Insomniac, 45 guys attempted to qualify the other night. So super speedways draw the numbers where the short tracks don't, but you get more of the, skilled drivers in the short track. I'm not saying that super speedway drivers aren't skilled, by no means, because that's a different type of ball game. But I still think I would have to say short track. So hands down.
Wow, I'm not sure if this is considered hot take or not, but we may go in that direction here. Super speedway versus short track. Anybody who knows me would know, and we call this as we see it on this show. But the super speedway deal, that is what I call, and I call it tongue in cheek, no talent trained monkey racing. And I know my buddy Jim Shorts out there will certainly agree with me when it comes to that. And it's basically this simple, call it a skill, call it for what you will, but you can show up anytime in a super speedway, put the brick to the floor, as Todd said, and I believe anybody can come out, I don't care what discipline you are, and put that thing to the floor and play in the draft. And the only thing you got to maneuver all night long is pit stops. And if you get to do them under caution, well, you stay involved in that race all night long. To me, there is no talent in super speedway racing. It draws the numbers, and I think it draws the numbers because, that's simple. Anybody can come out and win. It doesn't matter, what you're doing, as long as you play the draft, play your cards right, get a little bit of luck. Not a whole lot of skill. That's my own personal take. I'm sure a lot of guys out there feel different, but I would go to the short tracks. I mean, that's where the cream rises to the top. That's where your talent comes in. You have to finesse the race car, learn where to drive it, get on it and whatnot, with your brake points and everything else. And so let's face it, most of the people out there that, break into the sport, break in on the short tracks, and, being a guy who's grounded up here in the northeast part of the country, being a modified enthusiast and a great ambassador for short track racing up here, and all it's all about for years and years of my younger life. And, I prefer the short tracks, Todd. I think that's where the greatest racing is. I think that's where the greatest racing in the sim community comes out. And if you come to me, especially on the broadcast side of things, if you want to go to that end of it, super speedway versus short track, the short tracks always provide for more excitement. But that's just me. Let's move to the next topic, Rich. Or we'll ask Rich the same question. Rich, you weigh in with a hot take before we go to the next topic.
I think my thing with super speedways versus short track is I kind of agree with you. The one thing I would think a little differently is I think the super speedway is more of a chess match. I do believe that anybody can get out there and run a super speedway race and have a potential to win. But I think you probably see more often than not a lot of the same guys winning in super speedways because they understand the strategy and they know where to be at certain times. But I do agree with you 100% that you know anybody can run on a super speedway. I like short tracks. I like having to stress about breaking into a corner and getting on the throttle back in the right time to where I'm able to come out of the corner as fast as I can and also keep my nose off the car in front of me even though I'm riding his bumper and worry about the guy behind me. And if he hits me, I got to react and stay in the groove. And it's just a lot more adrenaline pumping up on a short track. And I think those are a lot more exciting races for sure. But with that said, let's move on to our next topic. And the next topic tonight is going to be wheel or keyboard. We're talking about drivers. Is it good to use the wheel? Good to use the keyboard? What's the pros and cons of both? I know we all three use wheels, but interesting topic, I think. Time going.
Certainly interesting topic indeed. And everybody out there, let's face it, could be a keyboard warrior. But when it comes to just racing in general on the keyboard, no, not for me. I tried it. I go back to the origins of my introduction to sim racing, going all the way back to like the Atari Indy 500 game, playing out in NASCAR 1 and NASCAR 299, where I raced an awful lot of time before I even knew sim racing existed online. When I discovered this world, it absolutely blew my mind about 9 years ago. And it was just crazy that guys come out here and do this and have fun. But, I think like everybody cut their teeth on the keyboard, but after plugging that steering wheel in for the first time and feeling how much response you get and you turn the wheel and the car turns and it's so smooth and not glitchy, I'm a wheel guy. I'm not sure if anybody out there prefer a keyboard, Todd, but I don't think you can duplicate anything close to the wheel. But, I know you go back to things like DTR, DTR2, where there really may not have been wheels that configure with that, and you did a whole lot of keyboard racing. So I understand the pros and cons, but if you want the real-life simulator type of feeling, and let's face it, we're basically playing simulators here, I want the real feeling I can get. So I want to be behind the wheel, and I'm assuming you're probably going to feel the same way, or maybe you don't. I mean, what do you think?
Well, NASCAR 2003, definitely a wheel. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Wheel is better than a keyboard. Keyboard, you can try it. It's kind of choppy. I mean, you can do different things to try to get it, but there's no comparison to a wheel. In NASCAR 2003, I ran it on dirt with a keyboard when my wheel was down. I did all right, but even Phil, I was choppy even on the dirt with it. But now, if you're going back to the rat bag games, a lot of people use the keyboard. Some of the guys that come to mind, and some of these guys may know it out here in YouTube land, may know that they're watching us. Some of these names that I'm saying, like there was Legend, Mofo Legend. That was the team name, was Mofo Legend back in the day. He ran keyboard, and he was so hard to chase down all the time. Guys like DT80, Ed Kaufman, we've seen races in NASCAR 2003 for him. Ed Kaufman, fantastic racer. I could never catch him at Muskie G. He used to beat me all the time, and he was on keyboard quite a bit there early on in his career before he switched to different things. I ran on joystick in that, so this is not even in that topic. I ran on a flight simulator stick through most of DTR days. No wheel, nothing like that. I finally graduated to like a NASCAR Logitech wheel with suction cups on the bottom. I don't know if you guys remember those types of wheels, but suction cups on the top or on the bottom of the wheel, and you were trying to hold it onto the desk while you were racing. It was extremely bad. So it's just interesting to see some of the different wheels and keyboard discussions, but definitely a wheel.
Rich, it looks like this topic has certainly energized the YouTube chat box, so I'm going to throw you over to the control booth there and get an update what these guys are all talking about. But looks like that keyboard versus wheel debate, looks like it's been pretty spirited in there.
Yeah, most definitely. A lot of these guys are chiming in, having conversations back and forth with each other. Rolling Thunder 99 says, when I first started NR 2003, I used a cheap controller. Brian Wolf also makes the comment, I raced with a joystick when my wheel was down a few times. So these guys definitely on the topics. They're definitely paying attention tonight. And I think it's interesting that we got these topics out here. My take on the whole wheel versus keyboard thing is with a wheel and you're racing against other drivers with a wheel, I think they're predictable. They can run smooth lines. You can race close to them. If you're racing somebody with a keyboard, not all drivers with a keyboard, but there are some drivers out there that are very talented, very good on keyboards and can hold a good line. But the majority of them, I think, are a little glitchy. I don't think they turn as smooth, and I feel like I've got to give them a little bit more room on the track, which kind of takes away from any advantage I'm trying to get. So I prefer not to race against keyboard drivers. And, the only ones I don't mind racing against would be those that you just can't tell they're on a keyboard. And I don't think there's a lot of them out there that are like that, but there definitely are some.
Well, Rich, that's your take. I think we got one more topic this week. You loaded the speed round up at 4 topics. So what would be topic number 4 for us?
Next topic, we're going to talk about simulator or a desk. Do you guys race in a regular desk chair and a desk with the wheel mounted up on it, or do you actually have a homemade simulator? And what do you think about the two different topics? I think this is kind of interesting to see how other guys drive out there, whether they're just running from the same desk they work from, or if they're actually comfortable in a nice built simulator.
Well, Rich, it's simple. I'm on a desk. We went out and spent $200 on a computer desk, a nice cherry computer desk, and I hook my wheel up to it and go racing with it. I've always wanted a simulator, but I think they're a little bit pricey. It'd be nice to, maybe if I was a little bit talented with maybe just being able to make my own simulator, I might be able to do that, but the talent's not there for that. I never was good at shop at school. So welding, on the other hand, I was all right, but shop-wise and trying to construct something, no. But, I mean, I have a desk. I've used desks for many years. I think a simulator is better fit for probably this racing stuff. I've been in type of simulators all over Fall in the World of Outlaw late models when I was going around. They used to have simulators with hydraulics. They have sprint car simulators that I've been into. I've done fairly well at New York State, different things with simulators when they had wind blowing at you and different stuff like that for competitions. I won a trophy in simulators like that. It makes you feel more comfortable, I guess. It's more realistic. It makes it more realistic than it does, let's say, sitting at the desk, I guess. But I'm going to race any way I can. I'm a racing fanatic, so I know I'm going to race any way I can. So if I have to duct tape my steering wheel to something, I'm gonna make it go. And I sit in a Coors Light pull-out beer chair. That's what I sit in to race.
Wow, that's a lot to get to there. But when you talk about the simulator versus desk argument, well, I guess it could be a helpless plea out there to all our viewers in YouTube land and whatever that support us at all, what we do at DRTV, DRL, and of course DRL Live, our new talk show. But I use this probably 15-year-old desk falling apart, a Walmart special years and years ago, the keyboard tray broken out of it, the wheel don't stay up on the desk all too well. Oh, I'd love to know what a simulator is like, to be in my own home and be comfortable and have my setup mounted at all times and not have to worry about it coming unplugged and whatnot and losing power in the middle of a race and wrecking half the field, which I've been known to do a few times over the years. So I can echo what Todd said. I've played in simulators, going out and touring at the racetracks and whatnot and seeing all the great stuff. NRT did great things with, simulators back in the day, and I was thrilled to jump in one of them once upon a time. And it's an atmosphere and a feeling you can't describe, and I wish I'd have that home experience as far as being behind the simulator. But unfortunately for this debate and the argument here, I'd love the simulator, but life is life. I'm stuck behind the desk, an old desk at that, and an old rickety kitchen chair, which it's not comfortable at all. So if I'm sitting in it, I'm probably uncomfortable. But that's what we can stare on this debate. Rich, I'm not sure what else you got to go on this topic.
No, I think I'm right there with you guys. I do the same thing on my desk. I got a nice big fruitwood L-shaped desk. Most of you guys have seen my whole monitor display and everything. And I just mount my wheel and everything right here in front of it, sit in my office chair with rollers and go at it. And, I know that there's a lot of guys out there that have homemade simulators. Instead of just going out and buying them, they actually build their own out of PVC, out of wood. Put racing seats in it, put car seats in it. You just never know what these guys are coming up to. I think one thing we're going to do down in the future is we're going to try to get on our DRL Live Facebook page, maybe not really a contest, but just an interaction thing, Maybe we'll do a show us your rig session and splash them up on the screen for the world to see. So keep your eyes open on DRL Live Facebook page and see if we can't kick that off and you guys can submit pictures of your systems and we'll talk about it in a future show. The next thing we're going to do is go to the roundtable. The roundtable is going to be issue we do tonight with a special guest. Special guest tonight is going to be Isaac Johnson. We'll get to him just a second. But coming up on the roundtable, guys, what are we going to be talking about?
Now, that again with the speed round, he puts us on the spot, title of the topic, and then he brings Isaac into the conversation, kind of, off the cuff and on the fly with the round table. But I'm going to ask you, Todd. Well, what can we talk about tonight with tonight's round table?
Well, I tell you, since we got Isaac in here, Isaac's ventured out out of the simulation world quite a bit lately, Isaac. How much can you use this simulation stuff compared to? I know I'm a real racer too, but I know you go out there and race. How much do you compare this with simulation? How much do you use this simulation stuff for real racing?
Honestly, I feel like I use quite a bit. I have a force feedback wheel, so I can kind of get the feel for what it's like to be out on the real track and everything before I go out and race. And especially with the dirt tracks, even though they're pretty different, but I mean in some areas they're very similar. But it's pretty much the same thing, except for you have a lot more adrenaline whenever you're actually out there racing, and if one thing goes wrong, you don't just get to hit reset.
Well, I have to agree with you. You can't hit reset. But I mean, I've been winning races here online, and you can almost compare the feeling, and maybe you can relate to this. You almost can compare the feeling. I'm out front winning this race out front at my local track, dirt track, I-88 Speedway, now known Aftermotor Speedway. But I'm out front winning the race, and 2 laps to go, 3 laps to go, you start shaking, you start thinking about things, you start sweating. I do that still in this simulation. I mean, 2 laps to go, this is where I mess up. This is why I have not won a race in a very, very long time, is I started shaking. I start shaking, and I start getting all kinds of crazy, and even in the simulation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the simulation definitely helps with that for whenever I'm out front leading in a race. I mean, you're still going to hear those things. It's really not actually happening. I mean, like I'll think that my motor's getting ready to blow up or something whenever it's just me hearing things. But with the shakes, especially the first time that I was leading a race, I mean, I ended up wrecking the thing because I got scared because I thought I was going to mess up, and I ended up just messing up. But being able to put that in the back of your mind using the simulation definitely helps whenever you're out there doing real stuff.
Well, Isaac, I've got the pleasure to get to know you here over the last year, racing on Saturday nights and throughout the community in here in NASCAR Racing 2003. But tell our viewers out there, you're one of the young and upcomer guys. You were Rookie of the Year in 2015 over at TD on the Premier Cup Series that DRTV had a title sponsorship in, and we got to know you a lot through that series as well. But tell our viewers out there, you're a young guy, you're still in high school, and you're one of the top drivers out there, but give our viewers some insight to your background in this sim and all your sim racing exploits through the years.
Really, I mean, I've been driving on the sim racing since I've been able to sit on my dad's lap and look over the steering wheel. I remember, like, whenever my dad brought this game home from the store, and I remember whenever I was 5 years old, he finally let me start doing it by myself, and I'd get on arcade mode, and I'd run on championship, and I'd sit at home right after freaking kindergarten, and I'd just race until I had to go to bed, or until my dad decided his turn. And I mean, I've just been around it pretty much my whole life. The same goes for real racing, because my dad, he used to race go-karts as well and race cars. And I first started doing the online with other people's. I think whenever I was 12 or 13 or something like that. But I used to not be very good at all. I would wreck probably every race, and I've gotten so much better. That definitely comes with me being a little bit more mature. I used to like flip out if something just went bad, downhill and wrong. But now I can kind of keep my cool and get through it, and then sometimes I'll end up winning the race anyway. But I mean, I've been doing it for about 4 years now. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing it. It's something good for me to do with my dad, especially being that in a couple of years I'm not going to be living here anymore. So it's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to hear about the bonding experience that you and your father Ryan get to spend here and racing together. And I know that just must be really cool for Ryan. And knowing I've got 2 young boys myself that are really interested in kind of jumping into my world and doing what we do as far as online racing. So I think that would be really cool to share the speedway with your son. And I'm sure Ryan loves that when he, alongside you, Isaac. And you're a great kid. You do a lot of great things out on the racetrack, but I know we do NASCAR Racing 2003 season, and that's a sim what we all know and love and we played for a long time. But is there any kind of like future plans for you to branch out into something, say like an iRacing or even something beyond, or are you going to be set here for a little while and concentrate more on your real racetrack racing come the summertime?
Well, whenever it gets in the summertime, I'm definitely going to be concentrating on my real racing. That's priority number one whenever it comes to racing. I've tried iRacing, but it's just I don't think it's worth it for the amount of money that you have to spend for it. That's just me. I'm definitely gonna get it again whenever they finalize all their dirt track stuff, just because I'm intrigued on how it's gonna turn out. So I'm gonna try it again just for maybe a month. But man, it's really all I have planned for, other than racing in our 2003, obviously.
Well, Isaac, on behalf of us here at DRL Network, first official guest of the Roundtable on DRL Live. So we hope you enjoyed your stay with us, and we hope to talk to you again here real soon. I believe Rich is invited you to hang around for the Q&A session. So Isaac, once again, welcome to the panel tonight. Great to talk to you once again. And Rich, let's step it down to you in the booth. I believe we're going to move on to our Q&A session, and I think we're going to leave Isaac up here and be part of the conversation.
Yeah, most definitely. Not sure if we got to even welcome Isaac to begin with, but Isaac, welcome to the show tonight. Glad you can hang out with us. I know you're probably a busy kind of guy, and I kind of heard that you didn't really have too much planned tonight, so we were gracious enough to have you over here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I talked to Phil earlier, and I liked what you guys did with the first episode, so I figured I'd see if I could get myself on here, and I didn't really have anything else planned for this evening, so thanks for having me on here.
All right, sounds good. Well, the next topic we're going to get into is our Q&A, and our Q&A is basically going to be questions that we get from random people that will show up in TeamSpeak in our waiting room. And right now, we've got one guy up in our TeamSpeak. We're going to call him Tommy Bordeaux. Tommy, welcome to the show. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you did. Thank you.
All right, Tommy, welcome to the show. Tommy's our first caller, or first joiner, you might say, here in TeamSpeak. And Tommy, you're in here with Phil, Todd, and even Isaac Johnson tonight. What's on your mind? What kind of questions you got for these guys? You can direct any question you want to either person or the group, however you want to do it. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I don't know. I kind of wanted to just make a comment sort of on the as far as real racing goes and how sim racing helps with that. I race in real life myself. I do go-kart racing. I have for a while, and I definitely think for me, being able to come on sim race, I race in NR 2003 and iRacing. I think any racing practice or anything like that, it helps. There's not really an easy way to just go out in real life and say, hey, let's go out and practice a bunch of races, because not everyone has the money or the ability to, no racetrack in their backyard to go out there and do that. But with sim racing, it's in your home. Anybody can do it. You can get on there and race and practice and improve their skills. And I feel like There's stuff that can transfer over, just being around cars, working on racing lines, things like that. Definitely helps from the sim to real life for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Tommy. And because of what you just said, it kind of got my wheels spinning because I'm kind of a realistic guy. I don't race cars for real. I only, goof off online and I guess you can call me keyboard warrior or whatever. I don't drive with a keyboard, but you know how the saying goes. But I have mad respect for you guys that actually do race. Wish I could. I just never got into it. But one thing, I'm a logical thinking type person. And one thing I could think, and Isaac, you can tune in on this too, along with Tommy, but I think the biggest thing that probably would benefit you guys being real racers is just to keep your reflexes fresh. Because a lot of these tracks in the game, your reflexes do need to work. You do need to be paying attention to what the car is doing and you need to respond properly. It might not be as drastic as live racing, or maybe you guys can point out on that a little bit. Isaac, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I can definitely agree with that. I mean, I don't get to race every single weekend out of the year. We just don't have the money or resources to be able to do that. But whenever I do go and race, I feel like I'm ready for it, just because of the fact that, like you said, my reflexes are fresh and I know more so what's ready for me or what I'm ready for. I mean, if there's a car spinning out in front of you or something, I know that I can get around it, just because, I mean, it's not necessarily as fast on the game, but I mean, it definitely keeps your reflexes sharp. Sorry, I can't even talk. But I can definitely agree with you.
What do you think, Tommy?
Yeah, I mean, it's one way you could relate it to is like batting practice for baseball or whatever. The more practice you have, the better you're going to be. You're going to see the ball better, and in racing situations, like if there's an accident in front of you, you're going to be able to react, just that much quicker. And I think it definitely benefits both in real life and on the sim, doing better there too.
Now,
All right. Oh, go ahead, Phil.
I got a question for the gang there, Rich. Talking to Tommy and Isaac, who are real life racers and among yourself, and you guys talk about how much just the practice of online racing benefits you on and off the real racetrack, mind you, and per se. But do you guys have a preference? And Tommy, I'll ask you first, as I think we've already touched on this as Isaac. But would you prefer the NASCAR 2003 sim, or do you prefer the iRacing sim as far as the realism and preparation for real life stuff on the racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, with go-karting, I race on the road circuits and all that, and so I'm more towards the road course kind of side of things. So for me, iRacing's kind of the way to go for that. Road courses on NR aren't bad, and I do race ovals there as well, but personally, I enjoy racing road courses on iRacing. I think it's a good tool to use if you can use it, and yeah, that's kind of where I am with that.
Well, Tommy, appreciate the answer to that question. And Isaac, do you have anything to add on that? I think you might have touched on that earlier in the roundtable portion, but anything to add to Tommy's thoughts?
No, I don't really have anything to add.
All right. Well, Tommy, thanks for dropping in, and good to talk to you on DRL Live, and we'll hope to talk to you again soon. So thanks for dropping in, and we said we're always here, and tell your friends, spread the word. Come on in, hang out with us anytime. Thanks for calling in, bud.
Yeah, appreciate you having me. See you guys later.
All right, Tommy Bordeaux stopping in as part of the Q&A section here on DRL Live, and I'm not sure if we have anybody else up there. I believe Todd got a message from somebody else coming in, and I believe Joey Demand is going to join the conversation. So let's bring Joey into the conversation.
Hello.
So Joey Demand, welcome to DRL Live. What's on your mind, bud?
Oh, nothing. I just thought I'd see what's going on around here. Found a thing that's called waiting room, and I have to get nosy and see what's going on. I saw a flashing light that said live, so I had to see what that's all about.
Well, we're in here tonight where Isaac Johnson is our featured guest, talking about all things sim racing. And Joey, do you have anything you could contribute to the panel as far as a question and answer segment? There's topics on your mind of anything out there in the sim racing world or beyond?
Well, let's see. The topic of steering wheel and keyboard. Yeah, you have to go steering wheel all the way, because if you try a keyboard, you're just going to hit a wall and take about 20 cars out with you.
I certainly couldn't agree more. And, Joe, you've been around for a long time. I said all sim racers at heart. And I kind of got to agree with that part of the conversation. Todd, I think you'd also agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely really do agree with that part of the conversation.
All right, well, Joey DeMann, thanks for stopping in, and our special guest tonight, Isaac Johnson. Appreciate you dropping in to the conversation. I believe we may have one more name, dropping in as they're coming in fast and furious here in the Q&A session here, part of DRL Live. I believe we have Randall Coleman on the board. Randall, welcome to DRL Live, my friend. What's on your mind?
How's it going?
I'm doing well, having a great time doing our episode. Well, what's up, my friend? You have a question or comment or something you'd like to touch on as our topics on the show tonight?
Yeah, let's go off the wall here from sim racing for a minute, and let's ask this very, very, very funny question.
Uh-oh.
Would you rather have hands for feet or feet for hands?
Well, that's a good one. That's better than my corn comment.
That's a very interesting question.
I don't know, Rich, you got an answer for that?
Hand for feet or feet for hands? I think I would have hands for feet.
I certainly think I would have hands for feet. Todd,
I could climb around on everything like a monkey.
I would have to agree too. I'm gonna have to throw that out to YouTube. What would you guys rather have? I mean, I'm in it all, Randall. That's a good one.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and just say hands or feet for hands, because how cool would it be to be doing a handstand and just walking around all the time?
Isaac, now that's a very good point, Isaac. But my big problem, I'm a big coffee drinker. I can't see me hold my coffee cup with a foot.
Well, you just got to learn. I mean,
Okay.
I can pick up things with my feet.
Now,
Is that a weird thing?
Now, moving back towards sim racing, as we're talking about all things sim racing and beyond, I have Isaac Johnson here in the booth with our special guest, and also our friend Randall Coleman from the Fast Racing Leaderboard. And Randall, let me ask you the question we talked about here a little while ago as part of the speed round. We were discussing short tracks versus super speedways. What's your take on that?
Well, if you had to ask me about that, let's see. I would have to say, in a way, you would think short track racing would be the more difficult because of your basically being close quarter racing, but it also does take a little bit of skill for super speedway racing, because you always don't have to be the fastest on super speedway. You have to be the smartest at times. You could lay in the back, wait for a wreck to happen, strategize, save a few laps of fuel, different scenarios. And you would have to have that skill and mindset on a super speedway to be able to pull that off. And I know there's a lot of sim racers that do that from time to time, and that does make them better on super speedways than some who just come out there to try to floor it through the field and see whatever happens. But I would have to say that short track racing is probably the more dominant side towards it, because, like I said, being close quarters, you got to be really skilled, you got to be patient, and you got to know when you can make a move and when you can't make a move. I mean, one wrong move on a short track, you could spin someone out real easy. And patience is a very, very, very big key to that. But patience is as well on a super speedway, because if you're patient either place, you're going to do very well. So I guess I would say I'm in the middle of it, to be honest. That I would think that between both of those two, you would have to be skilled and patient with both of them, and you could really get decent results no matter what.
Todd, I hope you're taking notes there, my friend, because Randall giving you some great insight of just how to be smarter than everybody at super speedways. And you're a guy. It's been a while since you pulled yourself into victory lane. Are you studying and listening closely to our friend Randall?
I had a good run in the Soundx. I finished fourth. Phil, where did you finish? You keep saying that. I may not have a win, but getting a little bit smarter day by day. I think, at least, anyways.
To answer your question, Todd, I think I was tore up in a wad in that race too. And we get to mix it out there with Randall, and I know Isaac's been out there. Well, guys, thanks you tonight for joining the conversation. We're up against our elongated time slot here, but Isaac, Randall, thanks for dropping in, and I'm sure we'll talk to you again here real soon on DRL Live. So thanks, fellas, for dropping in, and we'll chat again for soon.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks for stopping in, guys. Randall Coleman, Isaac Johnson tonight, are dropping by as part of the Q&A section, and been a great show here. Been loaded. We had a lot we've touched on here tonight. All things sim racing. DRL Live. Find us on Facebook. Send your results in. All league admins. All leagues are welcome. All disciplines of sim racing. If it's NR 2003, iRacing, R Factor, Project Cars, whatever it may be. If you'd like to have it covered on DRL Live, we would love to do so. Drop us an email. drlive@drlnetwork.com. But Rich Patton, I believe it's time to move into our next segment of the show, as we're up against a bump here.
Yes, we are. Show's going a little bit longer than we normally plan, but that's fine because things are rolling smooth. Next on the docket, DRL Live Hot Takes. Take her away, Phil.
All right, well, All right, guys, time for DRL Hot Takes. And, of course, disclaimer we're going to read every week before this. The thoughts and opinions expressed in DRL Hot Takes are solely that of our author, and not those indicative of DRL Network, its partners, clients, or affiliates. The intent of DRL Hot Takes is for us to give our honest and unbiased opinions in a completely unfiltered format to create conversation and topics for fuller discussion and debate. So we've done a lot of that here on DRL Live tonight, and let's do that right up in Hot Takes. So, Todd Stanton, I'm going to let you lead off the segment this week. Give us your hot take.
Well, my hot take stems from something that's happened on social media, and I've seen a lot of it lately as things have been going on. My hot take is, how far is just too far when you push something out on social media? Faking deaths, is that too far? Is any of that stuff too far? You're trying to create an image and paint yourself an image on Facebook or social media and stuff. Is it too far to go out on a limb and think it's a joke to fake a death or to fake something that you're doing in a real life situation? Is that too far, guys? Is it really too far? That's the question. I'm going to leave it open-ended like that, guys. Go to DRL Live, post your comment on it. How far is too far to take things on social media by faking things? Just leave that open. Give it a thought. Post a reply on DRL Live. I'll make sure I share it in my next hot take session.
All right, well, there's Todd's hot take. If I got a hot take today, I'm not going to do one here on the series. I know I did a whole lot of thinking out loud last week, but my hot take this week, I want to give a kudos to all our friends at Insomniac Motorsports, and Eddie Lee, Jeff Gruber, Jesse Klein. You guys have done a great job over there. That Friday night Super Speedway series at Insomniac, guys, the top Super Speedway series in the NASCAR Racing 203 community. 45 drivers showed up on Friday night. Knockout qualifying started 42 drivers. I'm not sure if any Super Speedway series out there in the community is, can achieve that right now. These guys at Insomniac, they've taken it to a new level with the Super Speedway series. It's a destination attraction every Friday night. Some out there, that have tried their hand before, kind of small time now and doing what they're doing with it and, with their own little circle. But this Insomniac Super Speedway series, certainly, the highlight attraction every Friday night as far as Super Speedway racing. So those guys in Insomniac, midnight Fridays, every week there, if it's Talladega or Daytona. Great Super Speedway racing. I know we've been around it, Todd, for a while, and kudos to those guys at IMS. They've done a great job with that Super Speedway series and all their stuff. They've taken that late night time slot and they've taken it to a new level. So that's my hot take. And Rich, I'm not sure you've got a hot take this week, but I believe you got something for Don't Drink the Kool-Aid. So let's start it down to you in the booth.
Yeah, I most definitely don't have a hot take tonight. I've been busy researching some things, and I just wanted to, I'm not even going to throw out a Don't Drink the Kool-Aid this week. What I'm going to do is actually define and give you guys something to think about Don't Drink the Kool-Aid. What does it basically mean? Well, the phrase drink the Kool-Aid is common in American business and politics. Roughly translated, it means to blindly follow, which a lot of people are guilty of. And it usually has a negative connotation. While Kool-Aid, the product itself, actually started back in 1927, the terms as it's used today took its roots in the 70s with the catastrophe that happened in Jonestown. You guys want to do some interesting reading? Start Googling this. Google Drink the Kool-Aid or Google Jonestown for any of you guys. Back in the 60s and 70s, all this was going on. It's a very interesting read. So going forward, you guys now know what don't drink the Kool-Aid means. It means don't blindly follow somebody. Understand what you're getting into. Know the facts. Don't go by gossip and rumors. And don't drink the Kool-Aid. That's all I can tell you guys.
All right, well, topics from Rich Patton and insight as only he can provide. I want to thank everybody out there in YouTube tonight. Thank our special guests up here in the booth tonight, Isaac Johnson, Tommy Bordeaux, Joey DeMann, Randall Coleman, all those guys stopping by. We welcome more of you next time. Next up for us here on the DRL Network, we're going to take a break, too. We're going to return for this show 2 weeks from tonight. Next year, if you can't believe it's 2017 already, Monday night, January the 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. DRL Live will return as we pause to take a few weeks off and celebrate the Christmas holiday and New Year's and all that great going on. So for all you out there in the sim racing world, we wish you all a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it may be you celebrate. And Todd, I know you got a lot of great stuff planned for Christmas. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the break, and I'm sure you can't wait to come back in 2 weeks here with our next installment of DRL Live in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait. 2 more weeks. I don't know, but we got a lot of stuff planned. Christmas break and New Year's break and doing all this fun family stuff and oriented stuff. So I can wait. It can wait, and I can't wait in the same aspect. So until next time, guys, I'll see you around.
Rich Patton, any great holiday plans here for these next couple of weeks? Now you've got some traveling you got to do for business, but hopefully a lot of family stuff to do to celebrate the holidays with those that are closest to you.
Yeah, most definitely going to be traveling just before the holidays kick off, and then shortly right after the holidays or in the middle of the holidays, we got family coming down for visits, and it's going to take us into the new year. So looking forward to spending a lot of time with family and take some vacation time. So looking forward to those next couple of weeks.
Well, awesome there, and I'm going to do exactly the same here. So until we get to speak to you again in 2 weeks for the next installment of DRL Live, just a heads-up reminder, registration now open for a special event we're going to be doing on January the 10th on a Tuesday night. It's called the Sheldon Stanton 200, and if anybody has followed the story of our friend Todd Stanton, his newborn baby son has had to go through a lot of medical kind of stuff, and stuff any family that can deal with. Dealing with a cardiac heart defect is very close to my family as well. On Tuesday night, January the 2nd, we are going to be hosting a race, to benefit Todd and his family for, the future doings of what baby Sheldon's going to go through. So we hope to join you for that. We'll flash that link up on our Facebook page, and, you can check out, I believe there's a fundraiser page, check over at the Sim Racing Association website, and also believe the feature host for it over at tdr-racing.net. If you click in the top right-hand corner, the link right there for the Sheldon Stanton 200 benefit race. So we look forward to that on January the 10th. But until then, next up for us, 2 weeks from tonight, another installment of DRL Live. And so until next time, for Todd and for Rich, I'm Phil Lacasse. Thank you out there, everybody, for watching us tonight. And, happy holidays. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night.